So, remember Star Wars and the huge expanded universe of Star Wars, where there are just tons of prequels and stories that help expand the universe and flesh out many holes between movies and events and certain timelines. And this is all a very great feature and great concise storytelling, but also, most importantly, an addition and expansion of lore into your universe. And this is no different with Halo. The lead up to Halo 3 was absolutely incredible, with incredible trailers, great material, but also just an insanely well done marketing campaign. Some of this material even acted as a prequel and set up events between Halo 2 and 3. This poses the pretty curious question: what happened between the events of Halo 2 and 3? Well, some people may say that nothing happened, while other people say, and including myself would say, actually things did happen. This will take in form of two pieces of material built into the Halo 3 marketing campaign known as Halo Uprising and the live-action short film Halo Landfall. The first of this was Halo Uprising, which was a 4-issue comic book series published by Marvel Comics, made to tie in with the Halo 3 video game, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Yes, Ultimate Spider-Man fame, Brian Michael Bendis. So, how was the book? Well, I'm honestly pretty mixed on it, but first before we get into that, I'm going to give you a quick summary of the events. After the events of Halo 2, Chief is on the Forerunner ship. It is filled with Covenant and he fights many of them until he finally gets surrounded by 6 hunters and gets pinned down. A Brute attempts to interrogate Chief by asking him where the key of Ocelon is, which you may ask, what the fuck is that? Well, I'll get to that. Chief uses a sticky grenade and sticks the Brute to his, private groin funny area, killing everything in sight. After this, he almost actually kills Truth, which would literally could have stopped all the events of Halo 3, but I digress. A Jackal sniper shoots Master Chief off the ledge, which of course it's a goddamn Jackal sniper. But nonetheless, he sees Truth escape out of the ship. He contacts Earth telling that the ship is on a direct collision with the planet and jumps out, using a piece of the ship as sort of protection from re-entry into the planet. So that was the Master Chief side of the story, but believe it or not, there's actually a second story going on here. That key I mentioned earlier was actually told by Colonel Ackerson, a pretty big asshole in the Halo War, but nonetheless. He distracts the Covenant by preventing them from annihilating his planet by telling him about this fake key that the Covenant actually believe is real. The Covenant go on a huge wild goose chase searching for the key in Cleveland, Ohio, until Colonel Ackerson's brother, Wuhan, actually tricks the Covenant into believing that he has the key, but actually the key was entirely made up, and he was acting as a distraction for the UNSC's Mac cannon to shoot out a Covenant cruiser which also has a Covenant minister on it, killing him and the minister on board. Overall, this is a very bizarre story. It was cool seeing Chief jump out of the Forerunner ship, and seeing what he did between Halo 2 and 3 was also pretty cool. But the story is distracted by this weird key subplot on Earth, and also this weird ass romance as well shoved into the story. It was cool seeing a normal human do this to the Covenant and kind of following a normal human in the Halo universe, but overall I think it was a lackluster story that did add some new lore and explain some of the events between Halo 2 and 3, but as I said before, this is not a must read for Halo fans. I am not the biggest fan, and it's a very bizarre story overall. If I have to give this a quick rating, I would give it a 2 out of 5 Jackal snipers. It's meh. After Chief was ordered to jump off the Forerunner ship, this is where Halo Landfall begins. When Chief was falling back to Earth, ODSTs, after an intense firefight with Covenant forces, were able to laser track Chief's location as he landed back on Earth. Then, the events of Halo 3 eventually start. Now for the backstory. Halo Landfall was a short film made in 2007 to tie in with Halo 3. Directed by Neil Blomkamp, who's known for making District 9 and a lot of other movies I might review someday. He was originally slated to direct a Halo film, but that project sadly fell through many reasons, and was eventually given the chance to direct this instead. Being one of Halo's first attempts in a live action, Halo Landfall is really everything a Halo movie or TV series really should be. It displays a raw, chaotic, and shaky kind of directing style, but shaky cam in this sense is also a great tool, and some movies do abuse it, but this short film uses shaky cam to great effect. It perfectly shows the chaos of the battle with the Covenant, with the shakiness emphasizing the realness and also kind of chaotic nature of the battle going on. All the props and CGI and location in this short film is also spectacular. Many of the props were actually made by Weta Workshop, a Peter Jackson-founded company who's also involved in productions like The Lord of the Rings. The ODSTs honestly look amazing in their armor in this short film, and following them throughout the film was very interesting and also fascinating. Another thing I really like about this short film, like I said before, is how everything looks dirty and real. Unlike the cleanliness of the recent Halo show, the Covenant were actually imposing in this short film. They were not afraid to attack the ODSTs. Even one part of the short film where actually a brute chieftain attacks an ODST and smashes him with his gravity hammer. Pretty brutal stuff, but also really fascinating to watch. Also, in the mess of this chaotic action, there's actually kind of a plot and purpose to this short film, which I also really like. Seeing the ODST struggle with the Laser Chief's coordinates gives the beginning of Halo 3 more weight, since finding Master Chief actually took some sacrifices, and people actually died getting that information to Johnson and the other Marines, which allowed them to find him so quickly, which obviously kickstarted the events of Halo 3. It's really great stuff. On a personal note, I always remember Halo Landfall as being one of the first Halo things I ever saw as a kid, and I remember loving it. The chaotic nature, the shaky cam, the great use of props, and the realism of everything. I just loved it. It was one of the few things that got me interested not only in Halo 3, but just the Halo universe in general. And even though it might be a little bit of a shame that we never got a Neil Blomkamp Halo movie, I am very proud that this actually still exists. And I think overall, this short film holds up very well today. If I have to give it a rating, I would say a 4 out of 5 Jackal Snipers. I think it was very good. With Halo Uprising and Halo Landfall perfectly setting up the events and stages for the events of Halo 3, we would eventually be given Halo 3 and finally finishing the fight. I know I said that in the last video, but for real, the next video we're going to be talking about Halo 3. Thanks for watching.